Hi there, this is Maneesh from PMP and you're watching yet another power-packed episode from PM Ninja video series. In this particular episode, we are going to answer all your questions, all your doubts, all your apprehensions about the two ways you can give the PMP certification exam. One is the Proctored exam and the other one is going to the Pearson Center and giving the exams over there. So you have these two options. Which one you should choose? I'm going to explain to you in detail and then decide based on what you find more convenient. Keep watching. Alright, so here's one thing that I'm going to make it very clear from the beginning. Some people like to give the proctored exam from home if they don't have too much of disturbances, right? And some people who have full households which are working most of the time, there are all kinds of beautiful noises of the house. There's, the cooker making sounds over there, the kids playing around because they can't step outside these days particularly. And you have elders in the house as well, so you might even have a maid coming around. So you don't find too much personal space, time or quiet time, in which case you can actually go to the center. But then the question is, there are places where lockdowns are still happening. I am right now in a place where we are still right now in lockdown, and therefore your Pearson centers are also locked down. So you don't have any option if you want to give an exam right now, and if you're in one of those cities or one of those zones which are under lockdown, well, you have no option but to go for proctored exam. But some people would rather wait for the lockdown to open up and then go to the Pearson Center and give the exams there. So that's something, it's left to you, but I'm going to tell you each of the things in proper details. Let's talk about the Pearson Center. Once you schedule the exam over the Pearson Center on the specific date and time, you need to appear there. But my suggestion is be at least 45 minutes earlier. Now, I'm not saying that just because to sound logically correct or ethically correct, hey, you should be before time, but 45 minutes early, that doesn't make sense. I'll tell you the reason why. 45 minutes early actually saves you a lot of time because people before you may finish the exams much earlier. A lot of people finish exams much earlier, and therefore, when they leave, and these, the examination counter is open, they just let you in. So you save a lot of time, and also because if you're 45 minutes early, you also take into account the traffic woes that we have, especially in the country that I live in. We have a lot of traffic related issues, any kind of untoward incidents. At the same time, it also gives you a lot of time to settle down, right? If you're rushed, just before time, your heartbeats are rising, you're sweating, and you're edgy, you're going to make mistakes, you'll forget things to do, you'll forget steps to be taken at the center, and that's going to add to your stress even further. It calms you down. You can do things in a very easy manner. That's very important because you want to appear for the exams only once, right? So just do it once, do it in a calm manner. You've rested properly. You drank necessary amount of water, because what you also have to do is that you cannot carry even your wallet. In certain centers, they even frisk you. I'm not kidding. In certain centers of Pearson, they frisk you to see. They even sometimes take out your handkerchief and see if you've written something on it, right? It depends on the zone and the kind of experiences they've had. So based on that, you may get through all these kind of things. So you need time even for that. They certainly do not allow any kind of electronic programmable watch, particularly the watch, which are connected to your cell phone. They definitely do not allow it, right? So your wallet, cell phones, your own pens, right? Any programmable device, right? Like your calculator, cell phone, anything. None of that is allowed inside. So where do you keep it? Well, you don't have to keep it in your car or anything. They provide you a proper locker. You put all your stuff in a proper locker. Even you might be carrying some books or something, put it in the locker. It's pretty spacious locker actually. It's quite comfortable. You put all your stuff over there. You can carry your water bottle, if particularly in these kind of dates where you would not like to take water from a public dispenser. It's better to carry your own water bottle, and they allow you for that. No problems whatsoever. Sometimes they even allow some pens, basic pens like Biro or Reynolds or something like, I don't know, these Luxor. Basic pens and pencils, they allow it sometimes, but don't push it, right? They don't like being pushed. And certainly not, sometimes they will ask you to take off your, handkerchiefs or stuff like that. So usually they don't. It depends on zone to zone. So you're going to have that kind of environment. So you can then lock the locker with all your content inside, take that key and put it in your pocket and get to the administration center. As you get to the administrator would like to know what are the things that you would want. Now, what you're allowed to carry is take some pencils from them, take also an eraser, and they'll probably give you some papers. Take an extra sheet. It's very important that you should be comfortable in scribbling and you should not run out of space. And they will give you paper for that. But what I also suggest, especially all my students, is to either buy from one of the nearest pharmacies or online foam-based earplugs. Foam-based. Do not go for rubber-based or latex-based, because they kind of pain in just about 5-6 minutes. But a foam is something that you can put it and go to sleep. So get a pair of foam earplugs, because what happens is, and sometimes they have earplugs in the Pearson Center itself, so you can go for a fresh one which is inside a plastic. So you don't want to use a used one. Of course, they're not going to do that. It's bloody hygienic. You know what? The reason I'm saying that is because there are a lot of other people also around. So, other certifications, more certifications from the technical side are also happening. And if there are kids around, like 18, 19-year-old people doing those technical certifications, they make sounds, or somebody next to you may be reading exams questions by speaking, distract you. You don't want to get distracted at a crucial juncture, so if possible, carry those and put them. But if you're one of those guys that sounds just doesn't matter, great. It does matter to me, so I use earplugs quite a bit, right? So way back, I don't know where, when I gave the exams, wait a second, 2000 something. Yeah, 2000. I actually took those foam things and it helped me a lot. That was Prometric, extremely noisy. Kids doing MCSD exams and all those MCP from Microsoft, they're running around shouting. Literally, it was almost like I come upon kindergarten kids over there. Horrible. And I had to give the exam. So I just put it there. I was in my own world, concentrated, cleared the exam in just about 3 hours. Came back 93%, just to let you know. Yeah, a bit of a show off, doesn't matter. Okay. So once you get there, make sure that you have this material with you. And then when you sit at the exam, you may wonder, hey, whatever happened to the calculator? Because there are a lot of questions on calculator. The calculators are built into the screen at the Pearson Center. In the Prometric Center, in the previous version of centers, you had to carry separate calculators. But here, they give it to you on the screen. Very simple calculator, and you don't need anything more sophisticated than that. Once you are started with the entire examination, you get 2 breaks. Right now, remember, you get 2 breaks even if you are in a proctored exam, right? So you get 2 breaks. The first break is around 70 questions or 80 questions, something like that. It keeps changing every once in a while. So make sure, and they'll let you know. But what you need to keep in mind is, before putting that pause button for the break, and the break is only for 10 minutes. So if you want to go out, go for a bio break, drink some water, relax. Well, do that fast, because you only got 10 minutes. You need to come back in 10 minutes or the timer restarts and you're missing time. So that's one part. The second part is that before you take that break, you must actually review the questions that you've done up till the break, because once you take the break, those questions get submitted, right? They might even get scored. I don't know. You'll see the entire score only at the end, but they'll get submitted, which means that once you finish the exams and you want to review everything, you can't do it. You can only review till the last break that you just took. Right? So, or after the break. So, you can't go beyond the break. So if you've taken the first break, the questions that you've, finished so far, you can't review them. It's gone, right? Submitted, right? So now you can only see the other questions. So keep that in mind. People have made a lot of mistake and they say, I wanted to review and man, I could not review. I had so many problems. I'm telling you. So that's a issue. So you should know that, and that's the same thing in Proctored as well, right? Okay, so 2 breaks. Once you finish with the exam, you'll come to know of the examination results there and then on the screen. They'll tell you, congratulations, you passed, and you'll feel happy. But as you're going out, you'll have to submit those papers, the scribbled papers and the pencils, whatever that you borrowed from them, back to them. And at the same time, they are going to give you a kind of a score sheet. There's no score there, just 3 domains, and they say whether you're proficient or not. So you get that, right? But that also is a proof that you've cleared. Keep that very carefully. And in a few weeks, you'll get the official digital certificate. Not few weeks now, it's just about a week. Digital certificate, very beautiful one from PMI, and then your name will also show up on the PMI roster. Your name can be searched that you are actually PMP certified. You'll also get a PMP certification number. All cool, right? So this is what your entire journey is if you are doing it in a Pearson Center. Now let's talk about what happens at Proctored. And I'm going to tell you a few things about Proctored. Some disasters which people got into despite my telling them to watch out. So never be overconfident when you are in a Proctored exam. First thing is, what is Proctored exam for those people who do not know what is Proctored? Proctored would mean that you will use your laptop, tab, whatever that you use at home, and it must have a camera and it must have a mic. It has to have that, because if it does not have that, you will not be able to have a Proctored exam. But nowadays, all computers have cameras and mic. The only problem is that if you are one of those users who have been very not so careful with your device, so it's got sediments into the punch hole where your mic should have been and all those kind of things, or your camera for some reason is not working, then you're in trouble. So you must use a device which has a camera working camera, suitably good enough for the person on the other side to be able to see you through the camera. So basically what happens is that when you opt for a Proctored exam, you have to have this device or any other device which has a proper camera and a mic, right? For you to talk to the proctor, the guy who invigilates you is called a proctor. One person will be identified only for you. Seriously, only for you. And that person will actually talk to you through the camera. He'll look at you. He'll even look at your surroundings, right? A special software you would have to download just before the exam, and that will actually freeze your laptop or device so that you cannot search anything, right? Otherwise, you could just look at the question, make a search, like on the other window, and find all the answers. Well, that's not how it's going to work. It's going to freeze everything. You will not be able to access, till the duration of the exam, any other feature of your own device, right? So within that particular software, you'll have the questions, you'll have the proctor talking to you, you will have the calculator, and you cannot keep any pieces of paper near you. If the proctor sees that you have pieces of paper or suspects that you're writing on some piece of paper, your exam will be cancelled without any discussion. I'm not kidding. They're very particular about that. So don't keep any book, it should be very far away from you, right? No books in your near vicinity. Sometimes the proctor actually asks you to pick up the device and show your surrounding like this, because the camera is here, so they'll ask you to kind of look around only to see that there is no side table here from which you can pick up something and read, or some book is opened over there, something like that. So they don't allow that. Any kind of a scribbling that you have to do has to be done on the screen. They provide the whiteboard for that, right? So all of that is provided on the Prometric. Now let me tell you a disaster which I've seen with quite a few people, despite my telling you, and I'm telling you the same thing here. Many people, when they work from home, they use the laptop provided to them by their own organization, right? Now, some of these organizations, in fact, most of these organizations have certain security features. One of the most important security features is that you're not able to download, you're not allowed to download anything other than the software which has been loaded by the company. And therefore, when you go to the PMI site, register yourself, and then go to the Pearson site and register for a proctored exam, on the date of the exam, just 1 hour before, you have to download a particular software. And that's when, at that point of time, you come to know, shucks, man, this laptop is my company laptop. It is not allowing me to download. It's showing so many errors. And at that point of time, you need to understand the policy of Pearson. The policy of Pearson is very clear that if the examination did not take place because of any omission or a problem at the examinee's side, that is your side, then they will claim the entire money, whether you were able to clear the exam or even attend the exams or not. But if there was a problem at their end, that sometimes their software kind of misfires, or the proctor does something wrong, and it has happened, the proctor canceled and he accidentally did it, because there was a guy from US and he was trying to work on an Indian time, and he had already put 2 shifts, and he was already very tired, but he was still trying to do a good job, and accidentally he pressed the wrong button, and that actually killed the entire exam. But he agreed that was his fault. He immediately called up that person and said, man, don't worry, it's my fault. I'm going to restart everything. And he did. And sometimes if it's too late, they'll say, okay, I'm going to, give you another date, and it's all within the same exam. You don't have to pay anything else extra. So the policy is very clear. If the problem is from our end versus the Pearson, they'll have to bear the cost. Therefore, if your laptop or your device does not allow you to download anything other than your official stuff which has been preloaded, guess whose fault it is? Your. So you'll not be compensated. You've not been able to give the exam. That's a problem, right? Make sure your camera is working. Sometimes you have to go to the device section to make sure that your camera is working, because many times people disable their camera for security reasons, right? So make sure that your device is working, and only then, proctor should be able to see you and should be able to talk to you when it wants, right? So during the exam, he may have a question that, hey, I see some movement behind you. Is everything all right, right? Not like in the horror movies, like he just thinks that somebody's talking to you. So he's only seeing whether you're cheating or anything. So he might ask questions like you, but most of the time they don't. They are very respectful of your time, because they know how important this exam is. But at the same time, a proctor is an invigilator. They have to do their job. Now, how do you fix the time? If you don't have any of these device-related issues, you can download software, blah, 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 which is fine. But your trouble is still not over, because you're still working from home. Now, particularly in this pandemic time, if you've got kids at home, if you've got a full family, if you're a bachelor, not a problem, right? You have a lot of time, there's hardly any noise, and you're all alone. The best place for you to give the exam. The only thing that you need to watch out is your bandwidth. Your bandwidth should be good. So my suggestion is always have a alternate connection. So you have your major Wi-Fi connection. Also, put your cell phone further away. I mean, it should not be visible to the proctor anyway. If the proctor sees you with a cell phone during the exam, again, no questions are asked. They will kill the exam there and then. No refunds. It will be cancelled. So put your cell phone further away, outside your premises. not premises as it's the area with where you're working, like on another table somewhere further away, on top of a refrigerator or something, and put it on a hotspot. On before getting into the Prometric exam, configure your Wi-Fi that you make it automatic connect for both, right? Your Wi-Fi and this. Then actually connect to the Wi-Fi, because that's going to give you much higher bandwidth. And then for whatever reason, if your bandwidth dies, or in certain places like very recently in Mumbai, they never have problems with electricity, but certain parts of Mumbai, there was a shutdown of electricity because of precautionary measure, because of that Tau took, or some kind of a cyclone which was coming in. So those guys, some people were giving exams, so they suffered a lot of problems, but fortunately Pearson looked at the weather forecast and the problems, and they actually agreed. So keep that in mind. What if your power switches off, or you're in that region where power is erratic, and the more the power goes on, your Wi-Fi will go off, so your cell phone will automatically connect. So keep those kind of concepts in mind. Keep the backups ready, and these 2 backups are more than enough. Make sure that your cell phone, cell phone, of course, because that's a backup for Wi-Fi. Your device, your laptop should be fully charged up, because again, if your main electricity dies down, your battery should be good enough for at least the next 3.5 to 4 hours, right? That should be good enough. So you must keep it completely charged. Now, apart from that, let's come back to the family members. If you have families, you've got kids, so what happens is that you have the same bandwidth, but now it is shared by multiple devices. Kids are watching Netflix or whatever it is. Your wife is on WhatsApp looking at some recipes, or doing her own business. I mean, she may be working, so she might be on a call using the bandwidth quite heavily, right? And then you are here, you're also doing the same thing. So don't go don't go choosing a time where everybody around you is active and your bandwidth is massacred. That's where you'll have drops. And again, whose fault will it be? Pearson would say it is your fault. So keep those things in mind. Many people that I know actually appear for the exams in the middle of the night or very early in the morning, whether before or after. So before the rest of the house actually wakes up, right? The devils, the kids wake up and start doing what they're best at, noise. Or once they've all retired and are, sleeping, and that's when you give the exam. So do it at the time when your immediate world around you, your household, is kind of quiet. You don't want any distraction, and at the same time, you want full bandwidth. Keep these kind of concepts in mind before you fix the time. Plan all this out, and then plan for the time for a proctored exam, right? And I think you should be ready. Let me check if I missed out anything. Yes, about the breaks. You get those 10 minutes break, and I've already told you that whenever you take a break, the moment you hit pause, once you come back, you'll not be able to review the questions that you did before. They'll get submitted. So review them before you take the break. So you'll have to, almost as if that you're doing the exams in 3 parts. I'm the kind of a person who does not take breaks. I would be focused. I'll finish the entire exam in one shot, and because taking breaks is optional. You may decide not to take a break. That's okay. You can immediately go to the next section, and then you'll get a chance to go through all the sections. So not a problem. But if you decide to go ahead and take the break, and you tell the proctor, so you have to be very polite to the proctor. It's very important to be polite, because the person is waking up. Most probably they're waking up for you. Even till now, there are hardly any proctors from within India, right? So even if they're very few. Most of the proctors are from US. So obviously they have to wake up at a wrong time for you, right? Unless you are doing it in the middle of the night, they'll be very happy. So be very polite to the proctors and simply tell them that you're taking a break, and then you can vanish. You cannot get up and start walking when you're taking the exam. That's another grounds for cancellation. Immediate cancellation. So when you're there, you should be always visible. As long as the exams are going on, you should be absolutely visible to the proctor all the time. So when you take the break, that's the only time you can be out of the visibility of the proctor. And if you say you'll be back in 10 minutes, be back in 8. Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Do not even take a second more, right? So proctors simply follow the rules. Some of these rules are non-negotiable, and so are the rules of the break. So be there before and, get back to your exams, right? So you got these 2 breaks. Now let me tell you a near horror story with one of my students. He finished the exams. He knew he had cleared. He knew he had done a great job, but he forgot to press submit. And in his glory, he just got up and went up to his cell phone, started talking, came back to his laptop, just about to shut his laptop when the proctor said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And that's when he realizes this guy is still there. He says, "I just finished my exams, I'm done." He said, "But you didn't put submit, and you're talking to the cell phone, I'll have to cancel it." So they had a discussion. The good part is this gentleman that I'm talking about is a very polite person, and he was very polite to the person, and he convinced him that, I thought I had submitted, and that's why I'm talking on the phone to my boss, telling them that I'm finished with the exams and I will be available for meetings tomorrow. So the proctor did not cancel it and just said, "Okay, fine, but you should have been careful," gave him a peace of mind, but then accepted it. So don't do that. Don't take the chance. What if the proctor was upset, just had a fight with his spouse or a girlfriend, right? Or boyfriend, we don't know. So the point is, at that point of time, you really don't want to, make their life, give them a chance to make your life miserable. So when you finish the exam, press submit clearly and confirm verbally with the proctor, "Am I done?" And once the proctor says, "Hey, you're done," after a few moments, the software will actually die down. It'll be killed by the proctor himself, and then you're free to do what you do. That's it. You're done. So complete the entire process, right? Don't try to celebrate too early. There's another thing you should not do. A lot of people who work in offices, the moment they get off their laptop, they have a habit of doing this window and L just to lock the screen. And before doing that, don't do that when you're in a proctored exam. Don't do that. Again, it'll get cancelled. So don't do that. A lot of people have this. The moment they get up, it's almost like a conditioned reflex action. I have one of them. Window L, and I'll do that, and I'll just go. It just locks my screen, and I go have my tea, coffee, come back. I've been doing this all my life. So that's a big problem when you're doing a proctored exam. That's again grounds for cancellation. These are the few things that you need to remember for proctored exams. So now you know everything that you need to know as far as proctored exam is concerned. It's a great thing to do it from your home, depending on the conditions around you, which you can, of course, plan accordingly. And I've given you all the pointers for that, right? So keep all of these perspectives in mind and then take an informed decision that are you the kind of guy who can do it from home, or you can plan accordingly, or you would like to go to a proper, a Pearson Center and then give the exams there. You have all the information now. Make an informed decision. This is Maneesh Vijay from PM Pulse, bringing to you yet another power-packed episode on PM Ninja video series. Thank you for watching, and if you like it, do subscribe so that you don't miss out on any other video that we publish over here, because our videos may not be aesthetically very beautiful. We are more of doers rather than creators, but one thing is certain, our videos are authentic, they are dependable, and any information contained here is something that you can completely, blindly rely on. We never speak anything which is conjecture. It has to be a fact. We are project managers, we are consultants, we are PM Pulse, the very pulse of project management, and we mean it in everything that we do. Thank you for watching. I'm going to catch you later.